Northern Ireland has been undergoing significant change. More peaceful, more prosperous, more shared than it once was. But division remains ingrained in society, and the legacy of the conflict continues to have a detrimental impact. This video is about the work and some of the many people making positive change for peace. The Northern Ireland Community Relations Council, or CRC for short, is at the heart of that effort, helping deliver the Northern Ireland Executive's Good Relations strategy called Together, Building a United Community. CRC supports people in their everyday lives to build good relationships and have the confidence to know and learn about each other in our increasingly diverse community.
In my role as the new chair of the organisation, it is indeed a privilege to be able to both acknowledge and to celebrate the work that has been done and the work that's likely to be done in the future. For example, last year we invested something like 2.5 million. For 30 years now, the Community Relations Council has engaged with and supported a wide range of organisations and individuals in the community and voluntary sector right across Northern Ireland.
One of those is Springboard, which works with young people in disadvantaged communities to deliver positive change for peace. Angela Chada is Springboard's Executive Director.
CRC know their stuff. They know the way things work in relation to good relations, community relations. They understand what organisations face on the ground. They're very professional, but they're very supportive. And I think that their funding that they give us gives us the space to be able to breathe and be able to create and sort of move forward.
Springboard has massively helped me stay out of trouble. Just based on my past, I was involved in a lot of sectarian fights and riots when I was younger. Actually right up until I was about 19. One incident stopped me. I was nearly hit by a car, and that was when my mindset changed. But I know I could have easily been led back down that route if I hadn't took part in the Springboard programme and broadened my knowledge on other people and other communities. So I think it's definitely massively kept me away from trouble and going back down that route. If it wasn't for Springboard, I could have been headed to prison. I know from some of the mistakes that I've made in the past that if I was a wee bit older, that I would have led me into prison because I've been caught before being involved in sectarian fights or antisocial behaviour. Through this programme, it's just, as I said earlier on, it's had a massive difference in my life. It's changed me as a person, it's changed me as an individual, but also it's made me want to be a part of something bigger. From taking part in the programme, I've went on to become a youth worker myself, and working with the groups that I work with. We really encourage them to accept diversity and embrace it.
The stories from Angela and James really bring home the type of transformation that the investment CRC makes can deliver. James's positive change in outlook and behaviour also demonstrates how TBUC makes a difference in people's lives. CRC receives the funding to do all this work from the Executive Office. Let's hear from Mark Brown and Andy Cole.
The CRC are a really important arm of the department in taking forward the TBUC strategy. They give us good feedback from what's actually happening on the ground. They help us to administer our programmes, to run our TBUC engagement forum, and they help to feed back into the whole policy development loop so that we can improve how we deliver our policy and how we administer our policy for the benefit of all the groups and for the communities in Northern Ireland.
What CRC are able to do is to connect government to groups and to organisations who are delivering real change in our society and building a united community together. And that reach and professionalism is reflected in the events which CRC run, where they bring together upwards of 150 people across different sectors to engage in that whole good relations piece. Not just to celebrate success, but to provide that critical feedback to policy makers in terms of how we can do things better.
As Andy mentioned, CRC also helps to develop good practice and increase the impact of good relations work, raising the bar to make a difference in people's lives. In North Belfast, for instance, CRC works alongside the Executive Office to deliver funding and investment through the North Belfast Strategic Good Relations Programme. Using its experience and expertise, CRC's team supports 11 organisations in that programme to deliver lasting, peaceful solutions to the problems that still remain in their communities. Partnership to achieve focused and targeted investments is really important for helping people access the right support to build peaceful, trusting relationships. Even a relatively small amount of money can help develop confidence to take on a new good relations project or strengthen the community relations potential of something that's already happening. CRC's Community Relations and Cultural Diversity Small Grant Programme does just this. Belfast Mila, which takes place every year in Botanic Gardens, and Culture Night Belfast, for instance, receive small amounts of funding from it. This helps them unlock much more additional investment from other funders. Another example of a project supported by CRC Small Grants is the Northwest Migrants Forum, which received funding to work with teachers, pupils and parents in schools to encourage better understanding of the issues facing migrants, including access to services. They developed an intercultural ambassadors programme linking schools in the Northwest area. Lillian Senu is Director of Programmes at Northwest Migrants Forum. Lillian explains how the investment from CRC and other funders helps migrants in the Northwest to articulate the issues they are facing and to deliver a positive impact in their lives.
The work that I am doing right now is because of my personal experiences. While there's so many friendly people around the community, for me, I faced a lot of challenges when I was trying to get a job, when I was trying to get advice, to even apply for my refugee status, apply for any support, in welfare support, or even just where I could go and advance my career. I couldn't get that support. I was so frustrated. And I just imagine those people who may not be educated, may not be able to speak English like I do, may not be able to articulate the issues that they are facing like I would do. I imagine how difficult their life would have been here in Northern Ireland without the support for them to be able to integrate well. And that inspired me to start the Northwest Migrants Forum. We couldn't do what we do without the support of funders like the Community Relations Council. The education programs that we run in school are supported partly by the Executive Office through the Central Good Relation Fund and also by the Community Relations Council, particularly the work we have done the last 1 year with the young people and the impact that project had. We wouldn't have been able to do it without that support at all.
I think that the work that Lillian and the Northwest Migrants Forum do for the migrant community is essential. We offer a safe space for people from migrant backgrounds who come to Derry to live in this area. We help and support them, and I think without this help and support, people would find it much more difficult to integrate in the communities that they've chosen to live in.
Funding and investing in good relations work is really important, and it's also important to provide opportunities to showcase the work and encourage others to get involved. Each year since 2006, CRC has made an award for exceptional achievement in good relations. This recognises groundbreaking and courageous peace-building efforts by people from across Northern Ireland and from a range of backgrounds. They operate in areas including youth work, the churches, community work, including at interfaces, and projects on shared heritage and history programmes. CRC also coordinates Good Relations Week with hundreds of events each year, supported by organisations including local councils, community groups, universities, schools and sports clubs. Theatres support community relations activity. The Playhouse, founded in 1992 with a grant of just £300, has become one of Northern Ireland's best-known arts centres. For 3 decades, it's been using arts activity to promote healing, understanding, reconciliation and transformation. Let's hear from some of the people involved in the Playhouse. Claire Heaney-McKee, Community Relations Coordinator at the Playhouse, explains some of its work that's supported by CRC's core investment.
A very important aspect of the work at the Playhouse is conflict resolution. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important that we have funding through the Community Relations Council, which funds my role, to be able to develop and implement a range of programmes for the building of peace and reconciliation within the communities right across Northern Ireland. One of the main programmes that we would work on within community relations is called Theatre of Witness. Theatre of Witness began about 10 years ago when a lady called Taya Sepanik came from Philadelphia, and she wanted to work in an area of conflict, so she chose Northern Ireland. So Theatre Witness works with a diverse range of individuals, ex-paramilitaries, ex-RUC, ex-British soldiers, and victims whose family members have either been killed or injured during the times of the Troubles. We were very blessed to receive 3 years funding, core funding through Community Relations Council, and it's funded my position as the Community Relations Officer, and that has been crucial within the Playhouse to enable us to identify the needs within the community and at that grassroots level.
Anne Walker has participated in the Playhouse's activities and is another example of how CRC-supported work is helping people make change for peace.
We were living in Wales as my father was serving in the RAF. Our next station would have been Hong Kong. But when Bloody Sunday happened, it brought all our family back home to Derry, back into the bog side. And we grew up in the deepest, hardest of all the troubles. The biggest thing that I can say, I started off with my mother's brother was killed on Bloody Sunday. They're the first lines that I say on my part of the production. My mother's brother was killed on Bloody Sunday. It's the second time that those lines changed the course of my life, thanks to Theatre of Witness.
James Greer's involvement with the Playhouse follows a similar path to Anne's. He too has experienced positive change, moving from involvement in conflict to building peace.
When we began, doing these, I'll say workshops, in the sense, but what they are, is structured talks and using the medium of film, they one, generate conversation, and two, to try and give backstory, what we were about to talk about. That at the start was about ad hoc. Sadly, through all the good work that happens in Northern Ireland, it comes down to pounds, shillings and pence. And we're very, very fortunate, that the CRC have seen fit, or have had the vision to fund this, to core fund this, and to let this develop. And what we sort of realise is that we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Dealing with the past is a recurring and important theme in CRC's work. Through a partnership project, Decade of Centenaries, CRC and the Heritage Lottery Fund have worked closely on the difficult issue of remembering our divided past. They've developed and promoted a widely endorsed set of principles for commemoration that underpin the work and encourage others to feel safe to explore these difficult issues. Paul Mullen, Director of the Heritage Lottery Fund in Northern Ireland, explains.
In 2011, my own organisation was starting to look at the challenges of the Decade of Centenaries. As a funder, we realised we would be asked by many organisations to get involved in funding projects that, because of the nature of commemoration in Northern Ireland, could have been very, very challenging. We developed a strategic relationship at that point in time with the Community Relations Council, and that has been critical to all the work that we have done since. And for the last 8 years, we've worked in partnership with them, and we've widened that partnership out to many other groups, from universities through to the museums, through to local councils, public records office, libraries, government departments, and groups on the ground.
Looking to the future is also a significant aspect of what CRC does, and working with children and young people is also an important part of the government's Together Building a United Community strategy. Peace Players International is supported by CRC for its work in Northern Ireland. It uses basketball to bring young people from the two main traditions together in a way that builds shared interests and relationships that bridge the divide. Gareth Harper is the Managing Director of Peace Players International Northern Ireland.
In terms of our impact, I suppose what we see, it's about creating opportunities for kids that wouldn't have the opportunity to meet someone from the other tradition or from a different background than themselves, giving them that opportunity, pure contact, and then leveraging the relationships those kids develop together on the basketball court to facilitate conversations around the things that continue to be divisive here, so flags and emblems and stereotypes and prejudice. So CRC core funding for us has been really, really important. It's nice to get the money, that's significant, yes, and it's nice to have core funding for core costs, for salaries and the bits of the organisation that just have to happen to let the work happen with the kids. But probably more importantly for us was the kudos that it brought and the acknowledgement that actually sport is a useful and viable tool for doing peace building and reconciliation work. When CRC puts its name behind that and then puts its money where its mouth is and actually invests in that, that sends a message out to so many other funders that says, right, okay. So that's the significance of it for us as an organisation. This next generation coming through, our biggest challenge is to make sure we don't dump our rubbish onto them.
Niamh Burns is one of the thousands of young people who have participated in the many events and workshops that Peace Players organises. She went to Holy Cross School in 2001 and 2002 during the high-profile dispute. She says her involvement with Peace Players has helped ensure that she dealt with her experiences positively.
So growing up in Ardoyne, sort of trouble and violence was really the norm. Each year, during the summer months especially, there was always something that was going on. Always really violent attacks or sectarian attacks, which we thought was normal. So having that there, separation between us and them, or Catholics and Protestants, to me was normal, and I never thought twice about it until then I was introduced to Peace Players, and now I look and go, that was so far from reality that people who now all suffer the same problems in communities like suicide, mental health, drinking, drugs, that was what was dividing us, was the fact that I was a Catholic and someone was a Protestant. It's crazy to think about now. If it wasn't for Peace Players, and I always say this, like, I would not have been doing the work that I'm doing now. I mean, I'm involved in the community, involved with a homeless charity, and when it comes down to it, like, the bread and butter issues are the fact that poverty's on the increase, drinking, drugs, suicide are affecting everyone. And I look back and I go, it's crazy to think that an issue like your religion was ever a massive deal.
In a world where we can be distracted by the negative headlines, it's important and appropriate to speak up about the good news stories. These are the stories that give us hope and inspiration as we build united communities together.
My vision for the organisation is to make the extraordinary ordinary. Yes, we have done extraordinary work, but I think the key to success will be to make community relations an integral part of Northern Ireland society. It should be part of everything we do. We are now a multicultural society, and the Community Relations Council is ready to play its part in the building of united communities.